I'ma let you hold everything I got, I'ma let it go. Tell the world, I'ma let them know. You the one like the metal gold.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, what it is, what it do? The block is hot. This is gonna be hilarious, y'all.
All I see
So,
is blessings, got no time for stressing. Don't believe in failures in my life, it's only lessons. They just making room for what I'm on.
all right, I had to get my mind right before I got on here, man. So, uh, I first of all, we I didn't want to discuss the Deion story because it kind of got uh I don't know, man. I just felt some type of way about it, especially in the beginning when he first launched it. It that he was going, it was kind of crazy to me. So I didn't want no parts of it. So, but we got to discuss Dion, man. So there's been a lot going on, especially in the man. I got to work on my live skills, y'all. But there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot going on in the space, right? When you talk about Dion and what he has contributed, uh, a just in the HBCU space, and what that means, and all different type of stuff. So I just want to respond a from a Christian perspective, right? Because when you talk about Dion, one thing about Deion Sanders that kind of stood out to me was that he was unapologetically a Christian, right? And he doesn't shy away from his callings, that he's uh that he's going through, and things that God has done for him. And so, one of the things that I started to see that was being attacked was his really his relationship with God in different type of ways, right? I would see creators kind of mock his um his relationship with God. And I think that is just kind of crazy, right? Because I just started going on my journey, but just realizing what that means when you start a journey, uh and what you really go through. I just know that it's a lot, is personalized to you, right? God doesn't God doesn't operate in a space. uh there's general principles, but he specifically loves who you are, and he has a vision for you. Every single person does not have the same um goals or objectives in their life, especially when it comes to God. Everybody can't be called to preach, right? We just have a whole bunch of preachers, right? Everybody can't be called to be a prophet. We just have a whole bunch of prophets. And so one of the things that I saw especially in black media, in different realms, is just attacking his truth and his relationship with God. And I just thought that was deadly wrong. So do let me just start off. Do blacks have the right to be angry or upset with what Dion has done, right? And I'm saying that in a way where, is it okay that they're upset that he left HBCUs? The first answer is yes, right? Myself, I'm a Deion fan. Okay. I always been a fan of HBCUs. Me myself, I went to a PWI, but because I was in a historically black fraternity, I was able to go and visit those places uh, in HBCUs often, and I appreciated just the different culture that HBCUs provide. Um, if I had to do it all back over again, I would go to HBCU by myself. I encourage everybody in my family to go to HBCU just because the support of an understanding of our culture and what we go through when it comes down to education, but not only that, but when we get into corporate America and those nuances that we have to go through. But I wouldn't exchange my experience in but I just, if I had to go back, I would love just to have that experience. My parents both graduated from HBCU university, Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, where I was born. So I have a lot of respect for HBCUs, and you have the right to be angry. Me myself, I wanted to see Deion stay. Right, I wanted him to stay, just because of what that meant. I thought it would be more powerful for him to beat Alabama at Jackson State than for him to beat Alabama in Colorado. You know what I mean? So uh I don't know how long that would have took, but I just would love to see it because for him, I felt like he didn't, and I don't know his personal situation. I just feel like he don't have to move if he don't want to because he can survive this more than anybody else that would have had this calling to go to HBCUs and shine this light into our culture and community. So I just thought that he could last a little bit longer because of his just where he's at in his life, right? And his success will allow him to last a lot longer in that realm. So I was personally uh kind of disappointed in the fact that he left. I did not want him to leave at all. At all. But when he says, God called him to Jackson State, and then God wanted to promote him, I also understand that too. You know, the reason why I started following him is because I didn't start following him until 2021, I believe. Um, no, I was 2020 season. No, that was 2021 spring season, 2021 fall season. Yes. So 2021, I started following him. But what impressed me why I started following him is because he was just unapologetically Christian. Like he would he's teaching his young men biblical principles constantly. And I think that was important. That's important. I think his love for his uh his team was very genuine. Uh it's uh it I mean, it shows in the tapes when you look at his social media, you look at his son's page, Well Off Media, shout out to Deion Sanders Jr. Uh you would see, he have in the morning, he would have a word for him. And also, he started off his team meetings in prayer, like at a public university. Like you all, like he's not when you talk about changing men's life, he's using the ultimate game changer to do that, right? Not himself, but the light of Jesus in him. And so when he said he's coming to level the playing field for HBCUs, I think he has done that. He has done that work. He's definitely uh he has changed the game when it comes down to how HBCU coaches operate and think. Don't think you can't go get a 4-star or a 5-star. Try to go get them. Don't think you can't um challenge the administration to give you a better budget or give you what you need so that your uh, athletes can be in the best position to win. Deion done that, right? But also he had the resources and the relationships to make sure that happens, right? And that's the part where I think people are saying like, you know, are really upset is because you can't recreate that. But I don't think that that's going away. If I, from what I experienced from Dion, he's not just letting go of Jackson State. He's moving on as a coach, but that created an opportunity for TC Taylor. Um, and that's a coach now that he brung under him. Now he was there before he got there because he got there in 2019, but he also was a Jackson State player, All American, and all this and that. But and you could see in his welcome speech what that looks like. I'm sorry, you all. This is what happens when you do random shows, uh, not properly prepared. So I I personally feel like he's doing that still in the way that he's operating. One of like off script like to call him Jesus Christ Jr. And I don't know the reasoning behind this Jesus Christ Jr. conversation, but I'm assuming now, I'm just thinking through it, that he's saying that because people praise him like they praise Jesus Christ, like he can do no wrong, right? Uh which if that's the statement, then that makes a lot of sense. But I also look at it in a way that uh I feel like he's trying to challenge uh his Christianity, right? That he's challenging his decision making. And I just have to challenge that part of the statement if that's the way he's approaching it. If all script is saying he's Jesus Christ Jr. and that he feels like he's Jesus Christ Jr. and that he can do no wrong, then uh that's different. But what I do want to highlight is that I remember last year when I was in this journey where I didn't quite understand. I still didn't. I was like a 95% Christian for a lot of my adult life. You know, the 5% is right. I just didn't understand why we was always praising Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like I believed in everything it said, but when you like, why do we praise Jesus Christ? Why are we praising this person, right? Instead of praising God. I didn't understand it. But when I started going on this journey, you all, it closed up that 5%. Uh, and I started to get to know Jesus for what it's worth and for his purpose. one thing that Jesus said, and just to the Jesus Christ Jr. comment, right? Jesus said, if you believe in me, like I believe in my Father, you will have more power than I have. And this is in Matthew's, but I'm just paraphrasing. And this was geared towards the story where the disciples was looking at when Jesus went past the fig tree and there was no fruit to bear, and he was just like, tree wither, right? And then the next day they saw the tree withered, and they was like, yo, this happened. Like, he was like, yo, y'all don't got enough faith. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in me like I believe in my Father, you can do way more than me. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to moving mountains and all this stuff, this is just uh the power of Jesus. But we also, as Christians, have that same power. We just have to have the faith in him like he has in his Father. So essentially, you can be more. And when I read that, listen, when I read that, and I'm a big person on reading self-help books, right? When I read that statement, it was like um Robert Kiyosaki, or if Jay-Z was to say, all you have to do to get to my level is just believe in me. Just believe in me and have faith in me like I have faith in my Father, and you can get $1 million. So all I have to do is just have faith in you, and I can have that same power. I can move and make things change just like that, just by my faith in you. And so what I'm saying to you all is, you have the capability to have the power of Jesus. So don't think you as a human being can't get there. You just have to sacrifice yourself to the word of God. You have to let go of all the things that you want and really just have faith and devotion towards Christ. And you can have that same power. Yeah. So to the Jesus Christ Jr. comment, I'm an optimist by nature, and I'm a risk taker. I would take a risk on that statement. And I would take a risk to say that Deion can have a relationship with Christ to that point, to really understand and uh distinguish the language and what God is saying to him. And so if we're going to trust that God sent him to Jackson, we got to trust that God sent him to Colorado. And that's just what I have to accept. That doesn't change the fact that I'm still a Jackson State fan. He grew a fan in me. Like, it's over. I always been an HBCU fan, but Jackson State fan for sure. Like, it's over. You know, I'm rooting for Jackson State. That's who I'm rooting for. If we having a battle on the SWAC, I'm going with JSU, the I love. And I want to experience that. I want my son to experience that. And so he's going to Colorado. I don't want to go to Colorado game. To be honest, I deal with Colorado every day at work. Don't want to do that. I want to experience what Jackson State has to offer. So I'm still going to be a fan of his because of how he operates. I don't want to go to Colorado. I'm just saying. I have to live that every day. But I can see I don't know what God has planned for him. So you just got to respect that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is did he turn his back on his people? He did not turn his back on his people. His people is everyone. You have to understand if a person has a calling from God, their calling is to save everyone. And I'm going to explain it like this. What he said in his Colorado statement is his purpose is a destination, not a location. And to people that's not Christian, you could be like, okay, that's to get a championship, that's to get this, and that's to get that. But when I heard it as a Christian, I was saying in my head, when I heard it, I was like, oh, he's talking about getting people to heaven. He don't care about where he is. It doesn't matter where he is. My job is to spread the word of God so that I can get disciples to the destination, the ultimate destination, that's which is heaven. So did he turn his back on his people? His people are not just blacks. That hurt me personally, right? I would love. I thought he was one of these, like he was about to change the game for us, and it was about to shine a light on the really the discrimination that comes. But it's not about that. It's about viewership to me, right? They came because there was something to view, but us as black people, this is what happened. We neglected HBCUs. We decided not to send our kids to HBCUs, to send them to PWIs. We decided not to give back to our institutions. And then we decided not to watch the games or go to the games unless it's homecoming, unless it's a classic. The reason why the Pac-10 is the Pac-10, you see their people supporting them. You don't see that stands full of black folks. You see their stands full of them. What does that mean? So now, in order for us to turn the tides, it's up to us. It's not up to him. He was there to show us what that looks like when our people support our people. The SWAC got TV deals signed because of that light he shined on HBCUs. Trust me, HBCU go and that deal wouldn't have happened. Not to the amount it would have happened, and they probably should have got more, but not to the amount that they got. It was a gift. You had somebody that was there, that was on public television for years, had limelight, and knew how to market and entertain people. And he's still showing you that. Now it's up to us to keep that going, right? So as Jackson State, as far as Jackson State is concerned, they need to find a college student that can do what Deion Sanders Jr. was doing for TC Taylor. Because I went to his page several times now. The same way I went to Deion's page every day. I'm looking for something that he is posting. But he only posts every once in a while. But you need someone for TC Taylor. He can easily have 100,000 followers. Jackson State has over 200,000 followers. They have more followers than Colorado football. They have more followers than a lot of Power 5 universities on their own page. So there's something that you can utilize to turn into money and turn into sponsorship dollars, but you have to do that as a business. So I don't feel like he turned his back on us. He definitely gave a foundation for success. And so for somebody to say that he don't care about us, that's crazy. That's crazy. He took one of the HBCU head coaches with him. And I'm pretty sure that was the only one he called. That was the only one that took the offer. Because there was at least 3 of them that he was fond of. But that was the only one that took the offer. So, and then a coach that was underneath him is taking the reins from Jackson State. But the first thing TC Taylor did was thank God. So now I get to follow a person that Deion brung up and showed them how to win. Like TC Taylor was there. He understands exactly what's going on and what it takes to be a champion and how he can't let up in order to be that champion. He understood how it was to be a good football player, but he didn't understand how to be a champion to the level that Deion understood. You gotta like that is crazy. Deion won the Super Bowl and the World Series. That is nuts. That is nuts. So he didn't turn his back on his people. His people is everyone. And everyone needs to be a follower of Christ because it's about the destination, not the location. And the destination is to get people to heaven. And that's our calling as Christians and as disciples of Christ. So he don't have to answer to no one. He has to answer to God at the end of the day. And that's what he's doing. Next subject. Here's the last thing. I don't think it's going to take much. There is a thought process to the black media that he hasn't answered to them. I respect that. I think that there is something to be said especially to the black media groups, and really just have that sit down conversation. Now, what is a little different is that the black media has been very critical of his movement. And so I, I understand that even at the press conference, he came to speak, but they was there, and it was multiple people saying this, right? They It wasn't just his folks or Jackson State people, like multiple media personnel say that he walked up to that door. Like his his he was willing to go show up and have that conversation. Now, why hasn't he had it since then? That's the other question, right? Um, I can't answer that. And I don't know why, but I can understand why. I can understand that black people, at least in the media realm, is now trying to challenge his decision making. And the type of questions that the black media is going to ask is going to um put him in a position to explain something that is I wouldn't say hard to explain, but could be criminating, right? It could be uh cause backlash to the university. I can see him saying the same thing as what he says when he deals with Atlanta, right? Atlanta Falcons never offered him another contract. So that's how they lost him in the free agency. Jackson State, after hearing all these rumblings, never offered this man a new contract. You know what I'm saying? I seen this man say, I love where I'm at. And I believe that. This I could I can believe that because I know personally there's nothing like being around your people in a positive setting. Watching the game, watching them 60,000 people cheering us on with no foolishness. Come on, man. That's crazy. You gotta experience it somehow, some way. So I just think that he does need to allow the black media some time, but I don't know if I don't know if he will allow recording to happen, right? Because I think what would happen is that they're going to start challenging his calling. And when you start challenging a man's calling, that's going to cause some a situation to happen. I'll be honest. If you're going to challenge my God, then and what he called me to do, that's going to be a problem. And so I can imagine that problem being the same thing when it comes down to Deion. And then they gonna question his blackness, you know, which is another thing. Like, why would I have to explain that? Right. And the only other way to defend what they are saying is to give them things that he has done for the university, and that would let you know what they didn't do for the program or the university. So I think the black media would ask questions that will take away the light that he shined um through being an HBCU coach. And that's what he's not trying to do. You see them already. This is media in general now. They taking a snippet of a conversation that he was using as an example and using it for the reason why he left Jackson State. Oh, this is why he left Jackson State. And it may be true or untrue, but the point is that man never said that. You know, you got like I just feel like we're not gonna be doing uh a great service to our narrative, and that's really to evolve our communities, be involved in our communities, be involved with the SWAC, be involved with the MEAC, HBCUs in general, um, and be involved in our own media sources. I don't think we're going to turn that narrative into the right place if black media have this conversation with Deion. So I honestly just think it's a smart move not to have the conversation. I do think that he owes them the respect to have that conversation, but from Deion's perspective and overall goal and thought perspective, I think it's a bad situation. I think I would rather them go with the narratives they think and let them die because they're not true, right? You can't know the truth until you talk to the man, right? So I'd rather them take their narratives, use it for what it's worth, and let them go on than to have a real conversation with them about the truth of what went on behind the scenes um, of Jackson State. And that's the only way he would be able to really give you what you want is to tell you the situation between him and Jackson State. And that's not going to do anything for what we want. And that's we want our people to support our people. We want our people to support HBCUs. We want our people to support our businesses, our media. And uh I think it's important to keep that going, right? That's the most important thing. And so I don't question the God in him. Uh, even Jesus, when he started moving after he got old enough and he was 30 and he died at 33, his journey was not a journey of standstill. He didn't stay in one place. He kept it moving. And um when he uh was saving people, he didn't just stay there and just save those people that was in that place. He kept it moving. Cause it's not about me just making these miracles happen. It's about the faith that you have in me, which would cause you to be saved. And so um like Jesus, I would say his movement is not for just one place. His movement is for places, but his movement is for the destination, which is heaven, and not a location of where he's placed. Colorado won't be the end. You understand what I'm saying? We don't know what the end is going to be, but you have to respect it. As a Christian, you got to respect it because he's trying to bring people to the ultimate destination, and that is heaven. And so, with that, I just love and appreciate you all for tuning in. But that's my perspective on Deion. Again, I just wanted to attack it from a Christian standpoint. Of course, my emotions is I didn't want him to leave. I wanted him to stay. I wanted him to change everything like everyone else, but he didn't because that's not what he was called to do. He did what he was supposed to do, and now it's time to move on. Unfortunately, but God bless, man. Appreciate you guys. It's been very raw and it's been very real. Thank you. It's your boy Danny P. Have a blessed day.